Hey everybody, it's Joric. Welcome back. Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Today I wanted to talk about, I know, a big subject and a frustrating subject for anyone that probably watches any of my videos. Any of you looking to move to Portugal or have recently moved to Portugal or have left and said good riddance. The immigration mess, the cluster, the ridiculousness, whatever you want to call it. Um, you have so much that have changed over the years, the NHR, the golden visa, expression of interest, to try to, I think, curb some of the immigration that was going on and all the bottlenecks and backlogs. But I want to give this to you, and you have the floor, and I'd love to get a comment and maybe a long comment from you below. You inherited this mess. You have the power to change it. What would you do given the the stalemate and all the problems that are going on with the immigration? Um, what would you do to solve it? What are some of your thoughts? I want to just throw out some ideas to you. Hopefully, it'll spur some discussion, generate some commentary from you, and maybe some back and forth and some good dialogue. Um, so still waiting for things to get settled through constitutional court to figure out what the next steps are, one way or the other. But how would you handle the mess that is the Portugal immigration system? It's a big question. So here's some things I want to throw at you as ideas. Would you address the renewals first? So people that are in the renewal phase in Portugal, they move to the front of the line and you get those sorted and figured out. What would you think of that as far as getting the renewal piece, those people that are already there, already invested time, already temporary residents, getting them renewed? What's your thoughts on where would that rank for you? Go the other way. Get the new resident visas issued first. So the people that have newly applied, they just got into Portugal, they're waiting for their first appointment and card and getting those things figured out. Getting everyone in for appointments and getting all those cards issued that some have been waiting 2 years or more to receive. They're actually at a point where they should be at a renewal and they still haven't received their first card. What do you think about that? Next up, I want to throw something at you. What about working on reunification visas first? I don't mean specifically spouse, kids, the family. I mean like EU reunification. There are still people from Brexit, which is many years ago, that still haven't gotten all of their stuff sorted by Portugal that they were promised when that took place. But I'm thinking from other EU countries when they're going in. Should be a straightforward process. Someone just made a comment about a video or a comment on a video a day or two ago. So it was a great thing that spurred me to think about, God, that one should be an easy one. People are already in the EU. That should be simple, click. And again, nothing simple in Portugal. But what about addressing those people that are from other EU countries, taking care of them and getting them taken care of first? What's your thoughts on that? This one's going to be a little controversial. What about taking care of the golden visa people and getting them out of the way first? Often they've invested heavily to be able to get, I'll say, fast tracked in many ways, but they haven't been able to experience that. Most of the people that I know that are going through the golden visa process have waited years longer than what they were told by the Portuguese government. Although people that 10 years ago or 15 years ago applied for golden visa have gotten it. But that was long before Portugal became like the hot place. But what if golden visa applicants, you took care of them? It's a smaller group for sure, and they were taken care of, and then you move on down the line. What about, this is another one beyond the renewals? It's not looking at the first people new waiting for their resident visa. It's not looking at the renewals, looking at people that are in the citizenship and permanent residence phase. They've applied and they're waiting longer and longer and longer. Would you think that it would make sense to maybe work on those and try to attack those cases and try to get them through the pipeline and the backlog before moving on to something else? Um, I have one that has been brought up, and I had heard a couple of people that were in Parliament suggest this on the news, going through and like stopping all action, um, all new visas, um, renewals, everything. Just kaput, stop, hard stop until they can figure out how to manage it, which doesn't help anything because by the time they figure it out, there's more people renewing and more people coming. It just, that to me seems like that's a crazier way to do it, but it is an option. I don't think it's a very good one, but it is an option. Um, this is one that I'd be for, but I've been for since we lived in Portugal and now we're not there. But thinking about retirement and where we may move. And also thinking of our friend that works at AIMA and some of the things that she talks about, doubling or tripling the size of AIMA. Often it gets in an expat newspaper, or sometimes they'll say, oh, we're going to double the workforce. Never happens. Not one extra person actually gets hired to help with the immigration services. And part of that is so many people are frustrated that work for AIMA, or and they used to work for CEF, that just they're bearing the brunt of our frustration when we go in. We're exasperated and we're frustrated, and so we take it out on them. And I think they're doing their level best. They're doing what they can, but the government has failed them and failed everyone that's frankly applied for any type of visa or renewal, citizenship, permanent residency, golden visa. You, I don't think anyone could sit there and make a good argument that in the last 6 to 10 years the Portuguese government's done right by any immigrant, based upon the promises set forth by the government that they said, if you do X, we will do Y. Granted, that can all change, and as many of you have found out, it has, which is one of those, again, cautionary tales about, careful where you move to because they could change the game, and if they do that, you have to be ready to play a new game, or say fold and say I'm going to move someplace else. But if you were the person that could, with the magic wand, fix all this, what would you do? How would you do it? Like, what phases? What do you think are the biggest backlogs? Part of it may be your own bias based upon, where you are. If you're an initial resident, waiting for that initial application and resident card to go through, or you're maybe in the permanent residency phase and you're just going, it's just going to take forever. Who knows? But it would be great to get some commentary and some notes from people because, we talk a lot and we have a lot of frustrations. A lot of people have voiced their concerns, emails, and have gone after each other on some of the comments. But if you were to fix it, how do you fix it? And I want to leave with this. Is it fixable? In a perfect world, yes, every problem is fixable and there might be solutions. But I don't know that the Portuguese problem is fixable. I think there's trade-offs that can happen down the road, not true solutions. And if those solutions are going to happen, I'm going to be retired before those things happen. I'm talking 10, 15 years from now, they might get around to thinking about, figuring about, putting something together in place which might address the issue. Because what they do need is they do need people to not want to go there and people to leave en masse. So immigrants there, they need to leave. So and they need people to absolutely not want to go to Portugal. So there are probably, the cost of living is much higher than a lot of other places due to housing, but it's still a safe place and there's still some really good things about it. But I don't think there's going to be, I'm not wishing any of this, but stuff like violence, like terrorism or something major that's going to start happening where people are going to automatically not think of Portugal. I think it's still going to be on a lot of top 5 lists for the next 10 to 15 years, and I think we're stuck with this problem. But I want to see if those of you that watch this have some solutions and have some good ideas that you think the government should be putting in place instead of kind of sitting around and not doing a whole lot. As always, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your travels.